Hey y'all, Chef Irick Sky here, and this is how I set up to smoke a pork butt. Now you should always take several things into consideration, one of those being weather. So you'll see as I set up my electric smoker, I'm going to prepare for that rain that's anticipated. This is my water pan, man. I've got water and chopped up garlic in there. Now the garlic, obviously, it's not for making contact with the meat that's smoking. It's in the water pan, so as the water pan heats up, the garlic adds additional flavor profile to the meat, because as the water pan heats up, those aromatics even better flavor and also tenderize the meat. You can put onions in here too if you want to. You could put some apple juice, 100% apple juice. You could put a variety of different things to further enhance the aromatics, which will further enhance the flavor profile of the smoked meat. But we're going to go ahead and put this in. I like to smoke my butt right over the water pan. So you notice I took the other racks out because I'm only doing one butt today. And we're going to go ahead and crank this sucker up. And I'm going to turn the, like I always do, I'm going to turn the heat up really high. I'm going to smoke at 225, but I'm going to turn it up high for the initial thing here to get the wood chips going really strong. So I'm setting it to 275, which is not my smoking temp. Also, always remember this timer here. Push the timer button. I put it to the maximum, which is 24 hours. If you failed to set that and say it was set for 2 hours, at 2 hour mark, this thing would turn off. So there's been a lot of disappointed people that didn't realize that. Awesome smoker, but if your intent, like my intent is, to smoke this pork butt that I'm going to put in there after the wood chips get going, and I reduce the temp to 225 Fahrenheit, if you put that in, and you stepped away for a little bit and you came back and it's like, man, why is there no heat? Well, that's because you forgot to adjust the timer on the top of the Masterbuilt. So for that reason, I set mine to the maximum, which is 24 hours. But what we're going to do now is just wait for this to start kicking out some smoke, and then I'll reduce the temp and I will put my butt in there. So now you can see the smoke, and it's the ambient temperature right now is about 280 degrees. I'm measuring with my wireless ambient temperature probe, and now I've got to reduce, because obviously you would never put smoked meat in something that hot. So I'm going to put it down to 225. So I'm going to let the temp reduce, and a quick way to reduce it is to open the door. Look at that. So I'm just going to let it drop, because my whole reason for putting the temp up so high was to get the, to get those coals, not coals, but those hickory chips going good. So now that they're going, there's a hotbed of hickory chips in the smoker box. Now I can close that and I'll just wait for the temperature to get to 225 degrees and I'll put my butt in. So look at that. So now I got it's actually about 222, 224 with the door open. And once I close the door, when it comes back up to temp, I'm going to make sure that it doesn't exceed 225. My optimal smoking temperature is right around 220 degrees Fahrenheit to 225 Fahrenheit. So what we're going to do now, I've rubbed my butt. Subscribe, check out my separate video. You can see how I rub my butt. But I'm just going to put it in here. Fat cap up. The fat cap is the part that's kind of a whitish color. You want that up because as this smokes, it's going to, that fat's going to drip down throughout the meat and further flavor it. That's my ambient probe notifying me my temperature has dropped too low, which is understandable because of what's going on with the door open. And it's going to rub a little bit more. Yellow mustard, as I mentioned previously, it's not for the flavor. It's just as a binder to stick this, to keep the barbecue seasoning adhered to the pork butt. But I rubbed it thoroughly, so I've got plenty of barbecue seasoning. And you can find the smoker like I use, the ambient temperature probe like I use, everything like I use. Expand this video's description and click the link there. I've got it all linked there. Also check out my barbecue sauce recipes, because when you take this sucker out of the smoker, you're probably going to want a sauce. I mean, you may not. I mean, it's so good without a sauce, but you may. I like a sauce on mine. But there it is. I've got that. And now all I got to do is stick my probe in my butt, because I've got my other probe. It's the ambient probe. So now I'm going to do my meat probe. Wash my hands off first. So this is my meat probe, and I'm going to stick it in the middle of the butt. So just kind of, I've smoked enough of these to know where it's about in the middle, because what that's going to do is tell me the degree of doneness at the middlemost part of the pork butt. I'm going to plug this into my wireless thermometer. And by the way, this links to my phone, so I can monitor from remote, or I can look at the device itself. Again, you can expand this video's description and click the link there to find the wireless probe like I'm using, as well as the smoker, everything, all my seasonings. I've got it all linked there. So what we're going to do now is close this sucker up, and we're going to monitor the temp, because we want this to get to around 225 Fahrenheit, the ambient, which is that one, and then stay around there. Now it may fluctuate, you know, a few degrees, 220, 230. I would prefer, if it fluctuates, to go lower. So if it went all the way down to 200, I'm fine with that. This is a low and slow process. This is about a 9-pound butt, and my degree of doneness will be 201 degrees Fahrenheit. And I want to get it right at 201 degrees Fahrenheit. Some people like it a little bit more, but from all the butts that I've smoked, I found that 201 degrees Fahrenheit is the optimal temperature, the meat temperature. So it's actually very simple. You saw my setup from start to finish, and I've got a tutorial where I explain step by step how I smoke my pork butt. So I go into the rub and all that within that video. Within this video, I just wanted to show you how effortless it is to take my smoker out, uncover it, fill the water pan, bring it up to temp with hickory chips, and then you know, put my butt in there. I mean, it's that simple, man. And now all I got to do is monitor my smoke. Obviously, for the first hour or so, I want to make sure that I am maintaining that consistent temperature, ambient temperature, internal smoker temperature is what ambient temperature is, of around 225 degrees Fahrenheit. I can already tell you it has gone up to 244. So what that means is I need to reduce the temp here just a little bit. The temperature that's in the Masterbuilt, built into the Masterbuilt unit, it's pretty accurate, but it varies by a few degrees. So what I prefer to do is trust the ambient temp on my wireless temperature probe, and also the meat temp in my wireless temperature probe, because it's never let me down. The other reason I trust it over the built-in ambient thermometer that's built into the Masterbuilt electric smoker is this ambient probe I put on the same grate, the same rack as my butt, whereas the built-in probe is only at one location. So I'm getting a precise ambient temp right at butt level, you know, right where the butt is on the grate. So that's why I do that. I love that thing. Again, expand this video's description. Click the link there. You can find where to order it all there. But you're not going to do anything with this. With a traditional smoking method using charcoal and hickory, I would spritz periodically with apple juice. I don't spritz this at all. I put it in and I forget about it. You may want to spritz it while it's smoking. That's completely up to you. But I just put it in and forget about it. Monitor the temp. Make sure that my ambient temp's staying around 220, 225, I would say. If it fluctuates between 200 and 225, that's fine, but I would like it to be closer to 225. I don't want to go over 225. And the degree of doneness is 201 degrees Fahrenheit. I like it on the dot. Some other smokers may say, hey, I want the internal temperature a little bit more. Some people will say less. 201 degrees Fahrenheit internal meat temp in the middle of the butt is the optimal temperature for me. So when it hits that point, I'll bring it inside, let it rest for about a half hour, and then pull it apart, and you got some of the best pulled pork you'll ever eat. Tell me what you think. Be sure to subscribe and check out all of Chef Irish Guy's videos. Ring that bell, and that'll notify you whenever I post another video. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Irish Guy here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.